Echoes of the Nexus, Episode 4. Zephyr turned his attention to the clothing Lumina had tossed at him. They were unlike any garments he had ever seen. The fabric was light, almost ethereal, shimmering with a subtle iridescence. It was cool to the touch, and as he picked up the garments, they seemed to ripple and flow like water in his hands. The clothing consisted of a tunic and trousers, both of a deep midnight blue. They were adorned with intricate patterns that glowed faintly, mirroring the symbols on the walls of his chamber. The patterns were complex, almost fractal in nature, and they seemed to shift and change as he moved the fabric. As he dressed, he couldn't help but marvel at the strange alien technology that had created these clothes. They fit him perfectly, as if they had been tailored specifically for him. The fabric was soft against his skin, and despite its lightness, it felt sturdy and durable. Zephyr took a moment to examine his surroundings. The chamber he found himself in was unlike any he had ever seen. The walls were made of a strange material that seemed to pulse with a soft inner light, casting an ethereal glow across the room. The light shifted in color, from a soothing blue to a calming green, creating an ambience of tranquility. The room was circular, with a high, domed ceiling that was adorned with the same intricate, glowing patterns that were on his clothes. The patterns seemed to tell a story, a narrative of stars and galaxies, of cosmic journeys and celestial beings. It was mesmerizing, and Zephyr found himself lost in the intricate details. There were no windows, but the room didn't feel claustrophobic. Instead, it had a sense of openness, as if it was a part of the cosmos itself. The floor was soft under his feet, like walking on a cloud, and it seemed to hum with a quiet energy. In the center of the room was a low table, made of the same glowing material as the walls. It was bare, save for a single strange device that pulsed with a light that matched the rhythm of the walls. Despite its alien nature, the room had a sense of peace and serenity. It was a stark contrast to the chaos and uncertainty that Zephyr had experienced since his arrival in this strange world. For the first time since stepping through the Nexus, Zephyr felt a sense of calm. He was in a strange, alien world, but in this moment in this room, he felt safe. Zephyr closed his eyes, trying to recall the meeting with the Council. His memories were a blur, a whirlwind of faces hidden behind veils of hair, glowing eyes, and hissing whispers. He remembered the feeling of unease, the way his heart pounded in his chest as he stood before the Council members. He remembered their riddles, their cryptic questions, and the way they seemed to look right through him. He remembered the sudden attack, the feeling of an unseen force slamming into him, and the shock of realizing he was unharmed. He remembered the Council members' glowing red eyes, the whisper of a threat, and then nothing. Opening his eyes, Zephyr looked around the room. How much time had passed since the meeting? He had no way of knowing. There were no windows in the room, no sun or moon to mark the passing of time. He felt disoriented, like he had been plucked from his own timeline and dropped into another. His head throbbed, a dull ache that pulsed in time with his heartbeat. It wasn't from a physical blow, but rather the mental and emotional strain of the events that had unfolded. The confrontation with the Council, the strange riddles they spoke in, the eerie dance around the pool of black liquid. It all swirled in his mind, a whirlpool of confusion and fear. Time seemed to have lost all meaning. He had no idea how long he had been unconscious, or how much time had passed since his meeting with the Council. The room was dimly lit, the only source of light coming from a strange device on the table. It was unlike anything he had seen before, a blend of technology and artistry that was characteristic of this alien world. The device was compact, its surface covered in intricate patterns that glowed with a soft, pulsating light. It was made of a material that Zephyr couldn't identify, smooth and cool to the touch. It was clearly a device of some sort, but its purpose was a mystery to him. As he reached out to touch it, he couldn't help but wonder, what was its purpose? The melody was unlike anything Zephyr had heard before. It was a series of soft, harmonic notes that flowed together in a rhythmic pattern, creating a soothing lullaby that seemed to resonate with his very soul. It was as if the melody was speaking to him, communicating in a language of emotion and sensation rather than words. Each note seemed to carry a different emotion, hope, fear, joy, sorrow, and as they flowed together, They painted a picture of a journey filled with challenges and triumphs, of loss and discovery, of despair and hope. It was a story told in music, a narrative that transcended language and culture. As the melody continued to play, Zephyr felt a strange sense of familiarity. It was as if he had heard this melody before, in a dream or a distant memory. It stirred something within him, a feeling of longing and nostalgia, of home and belonging. He didn't understand how a simple melody could evoke such strong emotions, but as he listened, he felt a sense of peace and comfort. It was as if the melody was telling him that he was not alone, that he was part of a larger story, a cosmic symphony that spanned the stars. Zephyr felt a strange connection to the device. The melody it produced was soothing, almost familiar. He couldn't help but feel that it was important, that it held some significance he couldn't yet understand. With a final glance at the device, he decided to take it with him. Carefully, he picked it up, its surface cool and smooth against his skin. It was surprisingly light, fitting comfortably in his hand. It was a small comfort, a piece of certainty in a world that was anything but. Zephyr turned his attention back to the room. He was still unsure of what lay ahead, but he felt a bit more prepared, a bit more grounded. He had a piece of this alien world with him, a melody that spoke to his soul, and with that, he felt ready to face whatever came next. While Zephyr was engrossed with the device, Lumina had been busy. She was standing by a large ornate door on the other side of the room, her back to him. She seemed to be interacting with a panel on the wall, her fingers moving swiftly over the surface. The panel was alive with light, glowing symbols shifting and changing under her touch. Her long blue hair fell down her back, shimmering under the room's soft light. She was dressed in a fitted tunic of a material that Zephyr couldn't identify, its color a deep, rich blue that matched her eyes. Her attire was simple but elegant, a stark contrast to the opulence of the council members. She turned her head slightly, as if sensing his gaze on her. "Are you ready?" she asked, her voice echoing slightly in the large room. Her tone was neutral, but there was an underlying note of impatience. It seemed that their day was about to truly begin. "Are you done fiddling with that device?" Lumina's voice cut through Zephyr's thoughts, her tone laced with a hint of impatience. She was standing by the door, her arms crossed over her chest, her eyes fixed on Zephyr. Zephyr turned to face her, the device still in his hand. "What is this thing?" he asked, holding it up. Lumina shrugged, her gaze not leaving the device. "It's a relic of the past, a piece of our history. It's not something you need to concern yourself with." "But it played a melody," Zephyr said. "A beautiful one." Lumina's expression softened slightly. "Yes, it does that. It's a reminder of better times." Zephyr pocketed the device, his curiosity piqued. "And what times would those be?" Lumina sighed, her gaze drifting away. "Times before the council, before the restrictions, before everything." Zephyr wanted to ask more, to delve deeper into the history of this alien world, but he knew better than to push. For now he would have to be content with the scraps of information Lumina was willing to share. "Come on," Lumina said, breaking the silence. "We have a long day ahead of us." As Zephyr followed Lumina out of the room, he found himself stepping into a wide corridor. The walls were made of a smooth, iridescent material that shimmered with colors that seemed to change as he moved. The ceiling was high above, adorned with intricate patterns that glowed softly, providing a gentle illumination. The corridor was bustling with activity. Beings of all shapes and sizes moved about, their voices filling the air with a cacophony of alien languages. Some were starborn, their bodies radiating with a soft, comforting light. Others were like Lumina, their features more humanoid, their eyes glowing with an inner light. And there were others still, beings unlike any Zephyr had ever seen, their forms strange and fascinating. Lumina led him through the throng, her strides confident and purposeful. They passed by doorways leading to other rooms, each one guarded by beings in uniform. Zephyr could only guess at what lay beyond those doors. As they walked, Zephyr couldn't help but marvel at the sheer scale of the place. It was like a city within a building, a hive of activity and life. He could see structures that looked like shops, their displays filled with items that were both familiar and alien. There were food stalls selling strange, exotic dishes, the air filled with a mix of enticing and peculiar aromas. Despite the strangeness of it all, there was a sense of order, a rhythm to the chaos. It was a world unto itself, a testament to the advanced civilization that had built it. And as he walked through it, Zephyr couldn't help but feel a sense of awe. Lumina, noticing Zephyr's wide-eyed fascination, began to share some of the history of the place. "This," she said, gesturing around them, "is the confluence. It's the heart of our civilization, a place where beings from all corners of the universe come to trade, learn, and live." The confluence was built thousands of years ago by the first Starborn. They were explorers, pioneers who traversed the stars in search of knowledge and understanding. They discovered countless worlds, each with its own unique life forms and cultures. The hub was built as a place where all these diverse beings could come together, a place where knowledge and ideas could be shared freely. Over the centuries, the hub has grown and evolved. It's become a melting pot of cultures, a place where the old and the new coexist. The architecture you see around you is a testament to that. The ancient structures built by the first Starborn stand alongside newer additions, each reflecting the unique aesthetic of the beings who built them. But the hub is more than just a place. It's a symbol of unity, a testament to the power of cooperation and understanding. Despite our differences, we've found a way to live together, to learn from each other. That's the true strength of the hub. As Lumina spoke, Zephyr could see the pride in her eyes. It was clear that she, like many others, saw the hub as more than just a place. It was a symbol of hope, a beacon of unity in a universe filled with diversity. As Zephyr and Lumina walked through the bustling confluence, a figure detached itself from the crowd and bounded towards them. The newcomer was tall and lanky, with an array of colorful feathers sprouting from his head in place of hair. His skin was a vibrant green, and his eyes sparkled with a mischievous light. "Ah, Lumina, just the person I was hoping to see," he said, his voice a boisterous boom that echoed around the vast space. He wore a wide grin on his face, revealing a row of sharp white teeth. Lumina sighed, a hint of annoyance flashing across her face, but there was also a glimmer of fondness in her eyes. "Hello, Flix," she said, her voice resigned. "What brings you here?" Flix's grin widened. "Just wanted to see the new arrival," he said, his gaze shifting to Zephyr. "Heard we had a human in our midst. Quite the rarity, wouldn't you say?" His eyes twinkled with curiosity and amusement, and Zephyr couldn't help but feel like he was the subject of some inside joke. Despite his eccentric appearance and boisterous demeanor, there was something about Flix that suggested he was more than just a simple jester. Lumina crossed her arms, her gaze stern. "Flix, this isn't a spectacle. He's not here for your amusement." Flix held up his hands in a placating gesture, his grin never wavering. "Oh, I didn't mean any offense, Lumina. Just curious is all. We don't get many humans around these parts, you know." "I'm aware," Lumina replied, her tone dry. "And that's precisely why we need to ensure his safety and well-being. He's not a toy for you to play with." Flix chuckled, a rich, hearty sound that echoed around them. "Always so serious, Lumina. But don't worry, I understand. I'll keep my distance." He turned his attention back to Zephyr, giving him a wink. "Welcome to the confluence, human. I hope your stay here is enlightening." With that, Flix turned on his heel and sauntered off, disappearing back into the crowd. Lumina watched him go, a thoughtful expression on her face. "Come on," she said, turning back to Zephyr. "We have a lot to do." Lumina glanced back at Zephyr, her eyes reflecting the ambient light of the confluence. "We're heading to the games," she replied, her voice carrying a note of seriousness that hadn't been there before. "The games?" Zephyr echoed, his brow furrowing in confusion. He had expected to be taken to a place of learning, perhaps a school or a library, but the games? That sounded ominous. "Yes, the games," Lumina confirmed, turning her gaze back to the path ahead. "It's a place where challenges are faced and rewards are earned." She didn't elaborate further, but Zephyr could tell there was more to it. The way she had said challenges and rewards suggested that the games were no ordinary competition. He felt a knot of apprehension in his stomach, but he pushed it aside. He was in a new world, a new reality. He had to be prepared for the unexpected. As they continued their journey through the confluence, Zephyr took in the sights around him. The hub was a melting pot of species and cultures, a testament to the vastness of the universe. Despite the uncertainty of his situation, he couldn't help but feel a sense of awe. Zephyr couldn't help but let out a small chuckle, trying to lighten the mood. "The games? Sounds fun. Are we going to watch a round of hackpog?" he asked, referring to the most popular sport back on Earth. Hackpog was a futuristic version of baseball, with high-tech gear and gravity-defying stunts that made it a thrilling spectacle. Lumina turned to look at him, her expression unreadable. "Hackpog," she echoed, the unfamiliar term rolling off her tongue. "I'm afraid the games here are a bit different from your Earth sports, Zephyr." Her tone was serious, and Zephyr's smile faded. He was beginning to understand that the games were not a form of entertainment, but something far more serious. "We're not spectating, Zephyr," Lumina said, her voice low. She paused, her gaze meeting his. "You're the main contender." Zephyr's eyes widened in disbelief. "The main contender?" he exclaimed, his voice echoing in the vast expanse of the confluence. Lumina nodded, her expression solemn. "Yes, Zephyr. The games are a test of strength, skill, and survival, and you, as a human, are a rarity here. Your participation, it's unprecedented." "But I didn't sign up for any games," Zephyr protested, his mind racing. He was a pilot, not a gladiator. "No, you didn't," Lumina agreed. "But the Council has decided, and their word is law." Zephyr felt a knot forming in his stomach. He was in a strange alien world, about to be thrown into a deadly competition he knew nothing about. He looked at Lumina, his eyes pleading for an alternative. "But don't worry," Lumina said, her voice softer. "I'll be with you every step of the way. We'll train, we'll prepare. You're not in this alone, Zephyr." Her words were meant to be reassuring, but they did little to quell the rising tide of fear within him. The games were looming, and Zephyr was the main contender. Hey there, fellow star travelers. If you've been captivated by this cosmic journey, crafted by the power of AI, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more interstellar adventures. But wait, there's more. You, yes, you, have the power to shape the course of our story. Drop a comment below on how you think our saga should unfold. Should we encounter alien civilizations, uncover ancient cosmic mysteries, or maybe take a detour through a wormhole? The universe is your playground. Our AI will analyze your suggestions, seeking out the most intriguing twists and turns for our tale. And remember, comments with the most likes have a higher chance of steering our story, so make your ideas shine. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave your comment to join us on this incredible journey. Together, we'll chart a course through the stars, one comment at a time. Until our next journey, stay curious and keep exploring.